Welcome everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve Aramopoulos, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Talia.
And I'm Tech Luciano. You may have heard me on radio, you may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Cause y'all gon' learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle, under pressure that will break a foe. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Hustle Podcast, episode 81 or 82. I always make a mistake, so let's just say 80 or 82, 81, 82, right? Today, we got another very special guest on the podcast. We got my man, Fred, Frime Beats. How's it going, brother?
Everything's blessed, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I remember you from back in the day, on the rap scene.
Oh, okay.
You were doing your thing.
Right.
I remember always seeing you on 514 Smoke and all the blogs, you know what I mean, getting posted up.
Right.
And then you switched up and you started getting more into the production side. So we're going to talk about the whole journey from the beginning to where we're at right now.
That's what's up, man.
So tell the people a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself. I said Frime Beats, said Fred as well. Should I be saying the government name? I don't know.
It's all good because Fred and Rhyme makes Frime.
Okay, we got it.
So, yeah, man. Well, just a bit about me, basically. I'm a producer, songwriter, rapper, singer. So I do a bit of everything in terms of music since over 20 years now. So as you saw me back then in the scene, it might have been, I guess, my most active part between 2006 to 2014. Had multiple experiences back then that I'll get deeper into, but basically, yeah, I'm always been rapper, artist, and since I've been 16, I also produced all my beats, but it was always mainly for me. And recently, I switched the whole branding to focus more on the production and everything. Outside of that, to also make some money, I got my marketing company. So, dabble into people like me just do too much things, but then the older you get, you're like, what makes money? And then you stick to what makes money, you know what I mean?
You're like a jack of all trades, you know what I mean? You got to learn a bunch of skills, just make everything work. At the end of the day, keep busy, keep hustling. That's one thing that I could say back then. Like, bro, you were dropping videos. Every time there was a video, there's another video.
Right.
You're always like, I think you did a tour too. You had a tour bus and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Not a lot of people in the city do that shit, you know what I mean? So,
I don't think nobody really did that unless it was like grant money.
Exactly.
But I don't remember. I think Soulja might have had a tour bus at some point, but me, it was all self-funded, sponsored, so it was a real hustle.
Tell us about the beginning, like what started the Frime on his journey, and why the name Frime too?
Right. Well, I started really young, around 14, when I started listening to Nas It Was Written. That's what got me into rap, and I was on the basketball scene a lot, so I was playing basketball, and back then, hip-hop and basketball was kind of, the movement, So there was older people than me that was already rapping and being on the scene, so it was just an inspiration back then, and to listen to Nas and to get into this whole rapping. So at that point, I was very young, and I just like I said earlier, put the Fred and Rhyme together, and I was like, okay, c'est Frime. It was in French first. I started in French with my friends, just rapping verses from NTM, I Am, back then there was a couple compilation, Ma Cité Va Craquer, things like that. Because the Quebec scene back then was replicating mostly French rap. It didn't develop this whole Joual scene yet. So, but not too long after that, I realized that I preferred in English because I grew up in Connecticut. And back then, when hip hop was coming out, I was more of a East Coast New York type of guy, because that's where I felt, Connecticut is an hour away from New York. So that's where I learned my English. And then I was like, yeah, let me do this thing in English and solo. So back then, on the scene, it was in Quebec is a very small scene. So, you had to get into little contests and things like that. So I managed to get in a contest called Boom that Rico Rick does, is a manager from Quebec that does shows. And I did that contest, and some producer from the city that was already producing known groups back then, called GP Matt, he just saw me on stage and was like, oh my God, who's this kid alone just coming out with all this confidence and rapping and doing his little set? I never saw that. So he approached me after the show, and then he was like, yo, I'm going to produce you and I'll record you. Just, you don't need to worry about that. So I had the opportunity, and I got blessed to have this guy that really like supported me from a very young age. I think that was about at 16, and you don't have much money at that time. So for him to give me all the production I needed to just practice and write tons of song and actually record tons of song was really a blessing. So I was part of a group in Quebec called Les Ambassadeurs, which was a collective with Good Samaritans and people from Jonquière and Montreal, and it was like related to Traumaturge back then, and it had even at some point another J from Septième Ciel. We were like the two new in the group. So at that time, they were already touring Quebec. So me, I had my new songs in English. I was just hopped on the tours and started touring all around Quebec. And
At 16.
yeah, maybe like 17, after at least recording some music at that point. But yeah, around 17, had to sneak in the clubs every time I was doing a show, because I had to go in. Even I started at, much younger, but I had to sneak in, do the mic check, and not go back out, because then I'd get carded. And so I was like hiding in the backstage. And that back then, it was like starting to have the French rap scene, and then met all the Sans Pression, the Mosaïen, and all the pioneers, Ils Vont Crever and all that, and Tactica. And we were all on the same scene and just doing all the shows in Quebec. And, so then that kind of led with some work after that, years later, to just pushing my stuff solo. So working more on my own music, and I started producing my own things. So I wasn't using as much as his production. So I had some friends that taught me how to work on the MPC and to work on in the studio with certain programs. And I got another blessing to have somebody really tell me, yo, this is how you do it, this is how you press, and this, that. So I started making the music on the MPC, which is like just a drum machine. You sample your records and you have discs to put all your sounds in. So it's still a hustle to make beats, because you gotta, you got floppies, you got little discs, you're saving everything. It's just one machine. You got to get all the sounds in. So, but back then, it was DJ Premier, Alchemist, Pete Rock, all these pioneers that was all using that. So it was all like, if you had an MPC, it banged, the beats bang, because it had a certain swing and a certain type of compression to that machine. So yeah, producing more songs. And then back then I even had some little interviews, Radio Canada, things like that. It was always like working well, but never as well as I wanted, because I pushed hard. And as a French white kid from Quebec City, it's not the same type of reception and the hip hop culture, but especially in English on the French scene. So it was always like I was doing a lot of shows, but nobody really understood. So when I did shows outside of Quebec, it was more like I had a bigger reaction, like Toronto and other places like that. So yeah, moving on forward, a couple years after that, somebody that now has Coyote Records, now he had this first label called Abusive Music. And then I had a French and English group called Classic. And we brought an album called La Redéfinition, and it was distributed with Universal Canada back then. So we were lucky. We're like, okay, yeah, we're on Universal, but we still had to fund most of the things. So back then I bought a camera. At that time it was a mini DV camera with the little cassettes and, construction lights, and we had the jib. So I had the chance to have one of my friends that studied in video and film. So he'd love to, hold the camera and set it and make it look nice. So he was supposed to film and edit all the videos, But then when we started making the videos for the album, I don't know, at some point during the editing, he was like stuck, So he's like, I'm going to show you how to do it. Then back then it was Avid Media Composer, which was even harder. It was like one of the most professional. So He's like, okay, press here. I'm like, and then I had to finish my music videos myself when I thought he would do it.
No, he lost it at that
And
point.
then
Too much.
he noticed that, okay, for me, since I'm already making music, chopping audio, it's kind of the same thing, but with video. So I kind of learned quick. And then I edited like 1-2 videos. And the third video, I sent to Much Music and it got accepted. So I was like, oh, okay, like it's my third video I edit and the quality, and I saw it on TV and it was coming out very crisp. So I was like, oh, wow. So I started making a bit of money like that because it was passing on TV. And then I featured with another group called Sagacité, and they had a buzz clip on Music Plus. So it passed during the holidays. So usually it passed 1 week. But because it was the holidays, it was a repeat. So it like for 3 weeks, it was like the music video nonstop in the city. So that wasn't one of the biggest peaks of my career because I was touring that specific song like everywhere, you know. I did another tour all around Quebec. And when I mean Quebec, it's like you guys know the places, right? From Trois-Rivières to Abitibi to all these Victoriaville, Shawinigan.
Yeah.
From small bars to no people to more people, but you know.
And look, at the end of the day, like if you're able to do the circuit, a lot of people don't have that opportunity. They go at the local bars over here, the clubs. You know what I mean? You can do Montreal, but there's only a certain amount of times you can do the same area. You got to reach out to the other demographics, the other small towns, and because once you go show up there, to them, you're like a superstar, you know what I mean? They're like, bro, oh my God, fucking Frime's here, Friends here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what it is. Like, I've heard stories, I have friends too, that they're on the French side, and like some kids, like when they see you for the first time and they buy that merch,
Yeah, for sure.
it's like they're seeing Eminem, you know what I mean?
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, I think we sold like 1,500 copies in store, a bit around, so we had people in Montreal here and there. Oh, you're classic, and like, oh, your shit is different because it's French and English, and it was completely French and English. I was finishing a rhyme, and he rhymed with whatever I was rhyming with, and it was going back and forth. But with the lack of experience of the label, they didn't tell us that we needed 70% French to get all the grants, and then we could have just adjusted the project, so we didn't get all the grants because of that. And then he's like, and then had to pay most of the stuff ourselves.
What did you feel though, like with the scene back then? Like, okay, it's been 20 years, 15 years since the last time you dropped, right? And now, like, we're at a point that you see the money's being made. You see that the music is being digested. You see that there's a market now.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like you missed out on the market and you're like, dude,
Well, I mean, yeah, for sure. It was kind of in a transition of the music where the CD was disappearing and then the music online was appearing. So the money was starting to get diluted, but there weren't no real solutions to how to make back that money. So you heard stories during those years, like all the labels were like, you know, failing and losing more and more money until they kind of switched it into the 360 deals and kind of making money with everything from the artist now, from all these shows. And so now if you're an artist, you got to make shows because that's like one of the main source of income, you know. So and then if you're not making music that's made for the radio, then it's really just that, you know, because then if you have the radio, at least you could make a couple thousands here and there a month if it's always rolling. But if not, then you gotta keep making shows because outside of that, the streams is peanuts now. So
you were put in a good position, like you said. You started off, somebody heard you rapping, they really liked what you were doing, and they like invested their time and their effort producing you and recording you.
Right.
Then you learned from that individual how to do it yourself, and the same thing when it came to the music production and the video production. So to me, it's like you're a quick learner. Anybody that they put you in a room, and if it's something that like really touches you, and you're like, bro, this is something that I want to do, like you'll pick it up fast.
For real. Yeah.
So that's like a good trait that you have, and it's like you were in the right places at the right time, and that's a lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Definitely.
So big up on that. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. So moving on to the story after the experience with Universal Canada, you know, we had the distribution, so it was all cool. I brought another Frime solo album called Make It Last in 2010. I think that was like 4 years after, so it was kind of still like distributed by them. And then I kind of just this side, I learned about, distributing your own music and doing your thing yourself. So then I kind of started my own label, Out of the Dark, and just decided to I don't need the label. I'm just going to do it myself, because now it's just uploading and putting the information, and boom, I'm on all the streaming platforms, keeping all the revenue. So that's when I really switched to, I deleted all my previous branding, and I started with my first music video. I think that was in 2010 too. I had two managers I was paying from LA. One was called Spark, and the other one was called Big Apple. I don't know if you ever heard of Big Apple. He's the one from Toronto who first managed Drake and Belly. When, I don't know if you ever saw the shirt, I'm Not a Rapper. The shirt.
I think I remember that shirt.
Okay, so it's still active today. And so I was like, okay, I'm paying these guys. They're in LA. He's Drake's manager, Belly's manager. But that was like before they were really known. At some point they were getting popping, but, it wasn't where they at now. But I was like, okay, I'm in good hands and this, that. So I was going more to LA. And then they had a magazine called Swag News. So they were interviewing all the superstars to put them in their papers and all of that. So I hired Alex Nazari from Black Diamond, who shot the video for It All Depends on You. So that was shot in LA. So I went there. It was a whole week plan, and was going from studio to studio, the video shoot. They had the whole week plan. So met a lot of great people, made great connections, and one special connection was with the real Rick Ross, which is Freeway Rick Ross. So for those who don't know, he's the pioneer who created the crack cocaine epidemic in the 80s.
Not the rapper, the real Rick Ross.
The rapper took his name from him, and the rapper was a correctional officer. And when I met him 10 months after he came out of jail. So real like down-to-earth guy, never would think. And when he came out of jail, the only thing that was left for him was his name. So at the moment I was making business with him, he was always in court against Rick Ross trying to claim his name back, because that's all he had left. And the rapper didn't go to see him to like, oh, you out of jail, homie, here's $1 million. I used your name.
Break him off some money, bro. Come on.
He was fighting against Warner for 3 months, and then turned around his life, starting doing speeches in school against, not selling drugs and not, because what people don't know is that he actually quit selling drugs 2 years before he got arrested. He actually wanted to be a professional tennis player.
He got a phone call from his ex-plug, and it's like, oh, come on, help me
like,
do
this.
You
still got the Nicaragua. So he went to Nicaragua, and then he got caught. And so anyways, so yeah, they kind of planned the interview with him for their Swag News magazine at that time that I was shooting the video. It was on Hollywood Boulevard under the sushi shop, and it was like a hidden studio. It was really dope. So he did his interview and everything, and they were just chilled, and I made him listen to the song called It All Depends on You, and he was really vibing to it. And he was like, yeah, I really like the song, because I don't know, he was supposed to spend 25 years in jail, and he spent 22.5, and it all depended on him to make it. So I guess the message got to him. So he was like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm shooting tomorrow here, so if you want to come true. And then, okay, yeah. But, I didn't expect nothing, because I'm like, he's a real Rick Ross. Like,
he's got shit to do.
He just met me once. Who cares,
Exactly.
And, next day the guy came and he featured in my video, and he did the little intro in French. I made him say, "Je suis le vrai Rick Ross" in the beginning. And then he was just like vibing to the track, and he featured in the whole video. So for a French white kid from Quebec City in the rap game, like when you're trying to get street cred, it's like there was no more street cred I could get than having the real Rick Ross, which is equivalent to Scarface to me in my video. So after that, if I went to the jungles or any place in LA that was dangerous, they knew about Frime, that I could walk there. There was no, like, I was good, and people loved the music. So I was like, oh, wow. In my city, they like see that I'm getting better and more professional. The more professional I was getting, they were like, I don't know if I like this. But in LA, they're like, oh, you from Canada? all they know in the States is either Drake and you, because then they don't know anybody else really. So they're like, okay, now I know Drake and I know Frime, and he has a tour bus with Rick Rock's face on it. Sorry, Rick Ross face on it. He has his site, I Need Hip Hop. Yeah, I got a feature with this guy. So they want to be featured as much on Canadian artists as you want to be featured with US artists. That's what people don't realize. So I was building like a huge fan base in LA, having much more love. And then people saw me from Quebec. Oh, he's in LA, he's in front of the Hollywood. Oh, Frime got signed from, so that's kind of the trick in the rap game, is kind of don't stay local like a phone booth, you know what I mean? Get out, hop on planes, and be places, because that's where the connections are made.
Networking is key. If you're out there and you're making connections, like you said, and you have the real Rick Ross in the video, and at the end of the day, like...
And that's one person I met there. I did another song with a guy called Sincere Show, and not a lot of people might know him here, but he's like the hype man of Jason Derulo now. He's doing all the major hip-hop events, the Diddy parties, all the major mansion parties. So he passed from nothing. It's like if you featured with Lil Wayne before he came somebody, and now he's like Sincere Show. He's like, and so I got him with Havoc and Mobb Deep on another track,
Yeah, I remember seeing some drops like Havoc and saying shout out to Frime and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty blessed to have that experience, and had some managers there. But at some point, I had the hits, I had everything, but it was just to get a song on the radio in the States. It was like about 50,000, and that's like a couple radio stations. So I felt like I was getting higher and higher with the steps, but the steps were getting bigger.
More expensive.
And more expensive. So now my manager's main focus were to find investors. So now we're just looking for investors. Look, Frime, you got a tour bus, you got this, you got these features. So at that time, I passed I would say I almost did a track with Snoop, 95% done with a music video called I Think I Fucked Your Bitch. It was like, it was supposed to be I Think I Love Your Chick, the censored version, with Jeremy Rogers, that was a skateboarder, and he was rapping too back then.
So what, this is actually filmed this?
We didn't film, but we had the whole concept written. I dealt with the manager. It was supposed to give Snoop a duffel bag, no traces of how much I paid for the feature because it was a ridiculous price. He didn't want to divulge anywhere. Rick Ross was supposed to give him a duffel bag. And it was all sponsored by a skateboard company called Selfish. And then it didn't go through. They didn't finally, after the whole concept, they backed out. But was supposed to be all filmed on Venice Beach, and following the guy doing the skateboard, doing tricks, and filming like the Selfish brand under, meeting Snoop in Venice, and this whole concept. So that was another deception that sometimes you're like this close to making a big move that's gonna change your career, and okay. Then another time we were on a call with Nas's manager. So we're with Nas, almost had a song with Nas this close, and then it didn't go through because needed this amount. And so it was really like, some people just sometimes they have a little luck where the road crosses and it keeps going the right way. I had many obstacles, but as I'm advancing in my music career and now switching to production, now I'm like living 80% of my music and doing much different strategies than before because I've been in marketing for the last 10 years. So it's all the things I know now, I wish I knew back then. I could have done more, but what I did back then is helping me now, because now since I did feature with like I said, Havoc and Mobb Deep, Terminology, Sky Zoo, Mac Lucci, Buck Wild, a couple people like that, and it's cool that I featured with them. But what's even cooler is that I produced all those tracks. So years later, I could still use the same name and just say I produced for them, because they still chose
have
the beats.
all the royalties for that. At the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
You have all production credits. You have everything.
I just feel that back then it was more like the Lil Wayne and all that auto-tune was popping, and the real rap was kind of going away. But I feel if I had the same features now, it's kind of returning, because the kids are like, they just listen to trap and drill. So when they're listening to real hip hop again, they're like, oh wait, I think I like that. And now it's like a new sound for them. So it's coming back, and all the OGs now are like reviving all their careers. I don't know if you saw a little bit on the scene.
Right now, like you said, like I think it's been the last 5, 10, a little more than around 5, 10 years that there's been that resurgence of old school golden era hip hop coming back. You know what I mean? terminology. I've been seeing terms been dropping a lot of shit lately.
So I think he dropped the most albums in the rap game.
Yeah, like Sky Zoo. I haven't seen Sky Zoo doing anything. I think he has a podcast now, if I'm not mistaken. Like I saw recently,
Right.
Boot Camp Click. Like we just released a new track last week for Rock the Bells. So you got Buck Wild on the track, you know what I mean?
I did 2 also with Planet Asia, and Planet Asia used to be good then. He had a little drop. Now Planet Asia's back with the whole drumless vibe with Nicholas Craven and all that. I always loved his vocal tone, but now it's coming back. He's like having a huge career.
I feel like what you said too, you know, the comeback. It's like, I feel like everybody's getting older, and it's sort of like that last run. It's because, okay, it's not to say that you got to stop rapping at a certain age, but there's going to be a certain point you're going to be like, dude, I can't rap anymore.
Exactly.
It's not, I can't be 62 years old going behind the mic, you know what I mean, doing shows and everything like that. There's going to be a point that like, I just want to relax. I did what I did. I took a 10-year, 20-year hiatus. I came back. I dropped a couple more iconic tracks or albums, projects, and then I left my legacy. I left it intact, you know what I mean? I hate seeing when somebody comes back just trying to make that bag.
Right.
And you can tell that the only reason they're back is because they need money.
I feel you.
And I feel like a lot of these guys that are coming back right now, it's not about money. It's like we see this, like there's a shift happening in the culture.
And there's a recognition because even the new rappers are trying to tell the kid, hey, you know, just there's still these people, you know, like 21 that diss Nas and then they did a track together right away. Proves like the power of it, you know, because like, okay, now you got to do a track with him because you said some shit that's like he's still relevant, you know.
I feel like when we were pandemic time and everything, and they started doing those verses,
right,
and that just like fucking reignited the whole thing.
Exactly.
Seeing LOX, seeing Locks against Dipset, you know what I mean, and seeing all these like crazy battles, it's just like I think it lit a fire under them too. Just to show, like, it showed them, like, dude, people are still fucking with us.
Definitely.
And I mean, it's been X amount of years, and we're still filling up a whole, was it the Madison Square Garden, I think? Where was it?
They filled out a couple of big
fucking
places.
Filled out the whole venue, you know what I mean? So, like, they're like, I think it's time for a comeback.
It is, and like I said, even with my audience, sometimes I do lives on the IG, just making beats. And sometimes people will stick when I'm making trap or this, that, but I notice now they're like, when I start chopping samples and doing it the old school way a bit more, they're like, oh, wait, I did. And now I see that people are like staying on the live and they're like, okay, well, I'm curious about this. What is he doing? What he took a sample? What is the sound? And they're like a bit more curious than, oh, it's just another trap beat, you know? So, yeah, man. Back to the story, I think I was... in 2010 with Rick Ross when I brought back that first video. So that was one of a couple videos back then. Like I said, it was all about bringing back-to-back videos because more and more content was becoming big and you couldn't just do a video every 6 months. I saw everybody doing videos every 3 months to every 2 months to every month. So then I felt the pressure to like, okay, I gotta, you know, do all these videos. So that's another cool experience because since I did all these videos, I was directing them too and doing a lot with very small budgets, you know, and recruiting the models, you know, renting this, renting that.
Stressful,
did all the everything on lock, you know, okay, got the video under a G, you know, and then it was like another G, but it's still money when you're, you know, paying for the studio, paying for the mixes, paying for a lot of other things, your artwork cover, your website. Because me, I wasn't messing around back then. I had the website. I had all the things there. I was paying everything. You know, I was trying to do everything by the book, you know. So nowadays, artists, I need a website. You're like, bro, you know.
Yeah, no, it's like, well, it's 2023. You should have.
Yes. What's your artist name? This.com. Just
you should have had a website 20 years ago.
And that's it, you know.
I think at this age, like 2023, when you have fucking AI taking over the world and everything, and you don't have a .com.
Yeah. You better have an IO or something.
Do something, you know what I mean? I don't know. You gotta take it serious. At what point though? Like, okay, you're doing all these things. You went to LA. You're like moving. You're doing the circuit. You know what I mean? When did you decide? Like, what was the reason, and when did you decide I'm gonna step back from music, recording it, and I'm just gonna start producing it?
Well, it was a big transition. like I said, after I pushed that career with the tour buzz, the site ineedhiphop.com, all that stuff, that lasted like quite a while, you know, and it had a certain impact. You know, I still build the audience and all of that, but it wasn't paying enough stream-wise. So I'm like, I got to make money, you know. So, and at that point, I just went back to just working a bit more and focusing on just stacking money. And I put the music a bit aside. I was still recording and doing beats all the time. I never stopped making music, you know, like always produce. It's just, there was a lot that was hidden there. And then, you know, that's when I got more into the marketing. And I always worked in business development outside of my rap career, or, you know, rap and things like that. But then I got in advertising agencies. And that's where I kind of, okay, like what I learned as a rapper was actually marketing, because it's everything that I used to do. Think of a concept. What's the strategy? How are we going to market this? How are we going to sell this song? What are we going to need to sell it? Stickers, posters, merch. Now I'm just taking a brand and doing the same thing with a brand. So I work with many brands when I was part of a Google agency partner. Back then it was Pioneer DJ Canada, did Kia, did Ford, I did so many brands. I forgot. It was like over 10 years ago, but I was working at the agency, and as Google partners, you had all the training. So then I learned about the Google ads, the Facebook ads, but I was more selling, and then they were managing it until I got out of it, you know, because it was a local company, and, you know, they were paying me a certain way, and I still had to make more money. So I went back to a regular company for a year, you know, in a completely different field, fires and floods. But then I came in that field, and they were like, okay, go sell. And I'm like, okay, so you guys want me to go sell, and if they don't buy, I'm going to lead these people to this site with nothing and no videos and no branding, and you don't even have the name on the cars and the employees. So I started like bitching at the operations, basically, which wasn't really my task.
Yeah,
but
like at this point, I could make the operation
so I
myself.
said, listen, let me make you a marketing strategy, and if you approve it, I'll manage it this year, and it'll be part of the tools I need to get the sales, you know? So I came back to the president, and I'm like, okay, it's going to cost 50 G's for this year. You know, this amount for the website, this amount to do 12 YouTube videos, this amount to do this amount for the advertising every month, this amount for that. And that's how it all started, my marketing journey on my own, you know? And they let me manage that for the whole year and do all that shit for them, revamp all the website, work with the agencies that were doing the website, the people that did the videos. And then after that, I kind of just launched my own thing, you know, as Frédéric Bonneau Inc., and just started taking one client, helping one client, hey, pay me this a month, I'll take care of all your marketing. And then it was 2, and then it was 3, and then it was just referral. And then I realized this is probably the field I'm meant to really be in, because I'm not
paying
even
the bills or stacking
I'm doing
loot.
nothing that I'm recommending to my clients, and it's just referrals, and I'm refusing clients. I'm just saying, no, I can't. I got enough, because my formula is just 5, 6 clients. At a certain moment, I had up to 8, and they all pay monthly, and it's a monthly recurring thing, and I don't need anybody else, you know? So I'm just...
I used to do something similar with the social media management when it comes to like Instagram and Facebook.
Right.
Like it got to the point I had 3, 4 people. I think it was 5 max, but it was at the end of the day, it becomes too much. If it's just you, it revolves around you posting every day. You got to make sure you got the right
It was becoming
hashtags.
subcontracting, so I was recommending the client, okay, now we need this extra thing is going to cost this, so now let's hire this person to do this video. Let's hire this other person to help me with the social media as the business were growing, because most of them were smaller businesses that I brought from ground up. But then it got, as the years went through, now it's been 8 years, I've been going bigger and bigger brands, charging more and more and more, and then coming from 8 clients to like just 3 now, and I'm good, you know?
I think like when you said okay, like for instance, us back in the day, rapping, you know what I mean, investing all this money into the rap career. And then after when you decide to step back from it, I got into video production. So when you land like that client that's willing to fucking put up 50K, and you're like, dude, literally 50K in one project, you know what I mean? Like one deal.
Right.
This is where the money's at.
Exactly.
This is where the money's at. I've been doing it wrong for so long because I was doing like smaller music videos and stuff. But then after, right now, let's say I land a wedding. If they take the top package, that's like 10 grand, you know what I mean? 10 grand for one day's work. And then I got to edit it at home for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Depends what the pace is. And you just put all your love and effort into it, make it look spectacular. But that's $10K.
Exactly.
$10K. You pay a couple of shooters to come on the job with you, and the rest is all yours. The rest is all profit. I think when you find that field that you're supposed to be in, and you see how much money is available out there for the taking, and you're like, you can always get more and more and more.
The experience of knowing how much work it actually takes, because in the beginning, you'll actually charge much lower than you're supposed to for the workload.
Just to get it.
And then you're realizing more and more that you're working. You're like, wait. And everybody's like, you're charging this, you're not charging that. Wait, I need to hire. So me really started like $600 a month to $750 to $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000. Now it's like, if you're not paying me $3K, I don't even want to talk to you.
At the beginning, you just want to land the clients. You want to build up that
and you want to build your reputation. You want to show other people you did shit, because you can't just sell your marketing without showing. Now, if I want to sell my marketing, I show one marketing video and the first 4 pictures on my website, and they don't even, okay, he knows this thing. He knows marketing. He's the web guy. Here is it. Go web,
You got a nice website right on the front. You have some logos from all the past
and
deals.
There's just a couple, but they're not even asking for no, reports or any sales proof, and I got bigger and bigger clients. I work for U.S. clients, Canadian clients, people that had like over 20 branches and just managing their whole YouTube shit, and, $200 a day for every branch, and just making sure it brings results. So in the last 8 years, I might have spent $2 million in ad spend. So I'm lucky because I got to test all this, I had the budget to test whatever I wanted. So now I know.
For sure. You got the what's it called? The insight and everything from that, all the knowledge. Me as a video production, as a videographer, director, video production, editing, I tend to use a few websites for my royalty-free music. So there's Endemic Sound.
Epidemic, yeah.
Epidemic. There's artlist.io.
Yeah.
I know you got something similar that you have.
Right.
How long has it been in the work? How long have you had that website, and what's it called?
Well, the site is called 5for5soundtracks.com. So that started as an idea during COVID, because since as I was talking a lot in marketing and everything, I was like, I need my own thing. I want to sell my own thing, So I don't care if it's candles. I don't care if it's T-shirts. I just want to do my e-commerce and make money, And then I'm looking, and I go in the corner and I see all my hard drives, and I'm like, wait a minute, I got the product right here. And I did the product for hours. So, and then I started thinking, okay, 5for5beats.com, and I'll sell beats $5 and, just get a bunch of people $5 a month, And then I'll just need 2,000 people to make my money. But then it was like, rappers don't really buy beats anymore. They just download shit on YouTube. So I might as well target videographers, podcasters, everybody that needs royalty-free background music until I place it. If I place it, I take it off the website, But at least that formula, 2,000 subscribers, I'm making $100K with music, no headaches. I'm just adding. Every time I make a beat, I add it to it. So it took me 2 years to really go back to the 2009 hard drive. Every night after the shift, take my coffee at 8:30. Okay, put my daughter to sleep. Night shift. And just exporting beat after beat after beat after beat every night for 2 years.
How many beats are on the website now?
1,600.
1,600 beats. Do you guys need beats for your
definitely
music?
will be sponsoring the show, and you won't use Artlist and Epidemic, because now I got 2 audio stock websites.
Perfect.
5for5, which is my own production, urban only. And I got Smart Sound Cloud, which is a partnership with a German company, which is all the music you want. And they have a technology that I don't have, which you could stretch the audio as long as you want. So example, if our podcast is an hour and 10 minutes, you stretch it, it adapts, and it fits right away. So you definitely will be using these 2 from now on, because, these other American companies, they're already making that cake, so you got to support local.
There was actually, I think, a month ago, I was filming a campaign for a client, Crooks and Castles.
Oh, okay.
So I was filming some stuff for them, and they were looking for royalty-free music. And since we had spoke recently, I gave them choices. Afterglow, there's Epidemic, there's Artlist, and there's 5 for
Oh,
5.
okay.
So you were thrown into the mix too.
Nice. Appreciate that.
At the end of the day, I don't know what they did because they ended up buying one song, and I know for Artlist you have to do a yearly subscription. So I know it's not from Artlist.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, maybe from a month
Yeah,
subscription.
Epidemic has
Epidemic?
both options.
I don't know.
The
I think maybe it
subscription
must be-
or the track only.
Yeah. So I think maybe they did that, but you were thrown into the mix, bro. I threw you in there.
Yeah, man.
Maybe you never know. They needed a West Coast sound, so I guess they looked through whatever you had West Coast,
Right.
and they picked whatever they
maybe
picked.
next one. You never know.
But you're still there. You're still on the list.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
For
man.
the podcast, usually for the actual full length podcast, we don't put any background music. We have a theme song. We had somebody from New York, a rapper, make it. But for the short clips, when we post on Instagram and YouTube, we're gonna need some background
That's
music.
why I did, like, the way I exported my beats, I exported the full beat, the melody alone, and the drum loop. So compared to the other sites, you could just go drum loop, which is perfect for those short form content because you don't want a whole beat taking over what they're saying. So you just want a cool little drum loop. That's it. Or, you know, that little melody vibe without the whole thing. You might want a beat too, but I'm just saying that's why I did it because I know
variety. Yeah, variety.
a
Right there.
podcast, a little drum loop, that's perfect for a podcast because you don't want to overtake the voice and you want the voice to just go over it and it's like a little groove in the back. You know what I mean? So we'll try it out.
So it's been a few years now that you have the website, 1,600 beats on it. It keeps growing.
Still adding.
It's still adding. It keeps growing. Any big placements with the beats? Like anything that...
At the moment, with these beats, it's more like videographers. So I wouldn't say it's big placements, but it's been used for different types of contents and people are using it.
For Frime production.
But for Frime Beats at the moment, I can't really divulge. But since I'm part of Beat Club, that's producers under Timbaland, I every month I'm applying for artists like Cardi B, Lil Wayne, NLE Choppa, and I have the opportunity to have these artists listen to it and they're A&R. So I got like 10 opportunities in the mix that are like some movies, some majors, but I can't really divulge.
Tell us a little
at the
bit about
moment.
Beat Club. You mentioned Timbaland.
Right. Well, Beat Club, actually when I launched the 5 for 5 website in June, I tried to apply for Beat Club for almost, I think it was a year and a half that they released it, and I was like putting my links and the Frime songs and this, that, and they weren't accepting me because you gotta join, and they gotta accept. And then when I did the 5 for 5, I put the link to my site instead, and then I tried again, and boom, I got accepted because they probably noticed, okay,
These guys got 1,600 beats that we can fucking shop
I don't
around.
know what they thought or how it made a difference, or maybe they were more accepting more people at that time.
If I were the consumer or the big customer, if I see you dropping me a link to your own stock-free music site, right there, this guy's serious. He has a ton of work. He has his own website.
Right.
Usually you see it's a big machine. It's Artlist, it's Epidemic, you know what I mean? You assume there's a bunch of people that are behind it. And to know it's one guy that's like, he's got that whole setup. He did it all by himself. He got the website. I think once they saw that, they're like, let's bring him on the team.
It really helped for sure. And then that's when I started applying for these opportunities because they got a portal. So they give you a bunch of free virtual instruments, exclusive, drum packs, sample packs made from all the Mike Deans and the greatest producers they have on there. And there's the portal opportunity, for things like Netflix and MTV shows. And so I never had these opportunities to be able to just go there and upload it. And then I get an answer. We loved it. We didn't love it. This is what's going on. Talk to the A&Rs. I could book with the A&Rs. And I have live Zooms with Timbaland. So it's like, I'm happy to be part of this because I'm just getting all this.
It's a matter of time.
Energy, and also it's pushing me to make better and better beats because I'm like, whoa, I'm about to send this to Cardi B. I'm about to send this for Bad Boys movie. I'm about to send this to, the Corday or whatever. And then I'm like, I want him to hear it. And so it makes me goes back on my beat and like, okay, let me switch the drum. Let me make sure this bangs. And so I really like spend more hours than before on my beats, because starting the beat takes me, could make one in an hour, but then it's about evolving and making it complete for the artist to be like, whoa. So now recently I'm like, okay, that's cool, but how can I differentiate myself? Because everybody makes dope trap beats, dope drill beats, a lot of talented producers out there. And now like, oh, wait, because sometimes they ask beats or beats with hooks. So now I started to record hooks, because that's the only way I could differentiate myself. Because if they hear the Frime hook, I'll be like, oh, okay, this is different. And I get a night. I know, okay, where the beat's where he wants to go with the beat. So I started doing more ghost vocals and recording, hooks before I send now, so I could be different,
Yeah, you're giving them a sort of like a skeleton of where a blueprint of the emotion to the song, the mood, and if you don't want to go that route, you just take it without the hook. They do their own thing.
Exactly.
So you give them two options. That's very good. I think like having that opportunity, like you said, there's a portal for Netflix, for this, for that, and you can literally just upload that song. I don't know if it's drag and drop it or click and upload, but it's pretty much
now they put a bit more work. You gotta like categorize it and put the what key it's played on and like other little
I think
things.
it's a matter of time before like something.
Well, it's getting the name, and what happened actually is a pretty cool story with that. Is the first live I had with Timbaland was with more producers. We were like, I don't know, maybe like 40 on the call. Timbaland was there. The president of Beat Club was there. Gary Morella, which is the person that organizes all the verses with Swizz and Timbaland. We were talking about verses earlier. So I'm on the call. I'm just watching it. I'm hyped up. He's welcoming us, and I'm like, okay. And then I see the president of Beat Club is online, and we could chat on Zoom, right? So I'm like, hey, what up, Gary? Like, by the way, I'm listening to everything you guys saying, but I got my own audio stock website, and like all the beats are ready to go, and this that. Here's the link. Give me your email, and I'll send you the link. So he gives me his email, which is Timbaland's manager. I'm like, okay, cool. Prepare the email. Here's my website. Like I talk. I got all these things. No. And again, not expecting much from it, because I'm like, this guy's he's making partnerships with the biggest companies right now. He's Timbaland. Like, who cares, And then the live on Zoom finishes, and I notice I missed a call from California, and I'm like, what the fuck, And then I check on the email. He wrote me back. He's like, oh, call me. And I see his number, and I'm like, oh, okay, like he calls me? And then I didn't know really, like I didn't know why he called me. So I'm just asking, hey, what up, Gary? Like a bit like shaky because, I'm still a big name. And I'm like, yeah, that's your site, 5 for 5. You got your music on there. That's really cool. You could keep that. And then, with B Club, we'll help you get more opportunities. And since we have certain clients that want a certain type of beats and you already know your library, we might be able to send you directly some things and we'll help you out and we'll partner and we'll do a partnership. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this guy's offering me to partner. And that's just how I've seen the website for like a couple of seconds. So I'm like, okay, I guess my shit is branded in a good way. And so he's like, okay, and I'm finishing. I'm telling him all the history behind Frime and all that. That's great. So we locked number, we finished the conversation, but it didn't really finish like, how are we going to partner up or what should I do? But she just told me we're going to partner up. So me, like for a month, like the first week I wanted to send him something right away, but I'm thinking it has to be good enough. It has to be good enough.
Don't force it. Let it come naturally.
So I work 1 month and then I'm like, sorry, I'm working on the part, because he didn't really give me how he wanted to partner. But I thought about something, and then I was like, okay, well, there's all these producers that are on the portal. They want to send music to Cardi. They want to send music to whoever big artist there is. They get refused, and that's it. What happens after, right? So does it mean the beat is not good? No, it doesn't mean the beat is trash. It could still be used for background music, but maybe I could decide that. So I built this whole plan like it was a 24 slide with me like talking as a video over it, and explaining this whole business plan about when producers don't make it to the major, the beat is sent to my submission, and then it's creating a new pack of the 5 for 5 standard, and then the premium, including the Beat Club pack, So then I'm like, we could sell that instead of 5, we'll sell it at 12, 50-50, this, that. I expect this number of member. I like had a crazy number after 5 years. It makes 16 million, and we'll do no. So I send it, I do the thing, follow up, and it didn't go through. We didn't go for the partnership, but I'm friends with Gary. I got his number, and I could call him. So I'm one call away from Timbaland and just making shit happen. If I got something, that's worth his time, I could just call him, and he calls me back. And so that's what I think is really the biggest type of accomplishments you could have from making projects like this, is to see it started from nothing. Now I have this connection. It started from nothing. Now on my site, I have 100-something members. So I'm starting to make money with that. But it also led me to partner with a company from Germany, because I was approaching all types of companies back then. Cause like, all the audio stock websites, I'm like, I got my shit, so might as well add it to here, so I could sync everywhere, right? So some of them said yes, some of them said no, some of them led nowhere, until I found this company, Smart Sound, and then I wanted to add their sound effects on my website, because I wanted the music plus sound effects to be like everybody. And then we spoke months after month, and then at some point I'm like, who's doing your marketing? And it was like, I don't know, maybe you could help. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me take over the marketing while I add my music, because they bought a company in LA 20 years ago, but the music catalog is not up to date like the like other catalogs in terms of hip hop. So it's like, it's perfect because you got all this hip hop, we'll add it to the website. And me, I'm like, boom, I'm speeding up 2 years of my whole development progress, because I know I needed some point to have my app and to have some type of technology that will differentiate. So now, boom, they're giving it to me. I'm adding my music I'm doing albums of 10 tracks now, Drill Inferno, Trap Dynasty, and they added by 10. And then it's a little album, and they got 2 sites, Smart Sound, which the people could buy at $39 the album, or they have the other one that's a subscription. Well, now I make money with that, and now I make money with my site, and now I make money so now I'm starting to, and I'm paid to do their marketing. So now,
once the ball starts rolling,
three years after I said, okay, I'm going to live off music, now it's only production. I want to go 100%, and I'm going all in. I'm working every day towards this goal. Now 80% of my revenue, all music. Like it includes some marketing, but the marketing is not about anything else than music. Now I'm just trying to get subscribers for a music brand that I'm producing for, so it's fun because it's all around music. It's not like other types of, like I was working for a jewelry store, things like that. At some point, you're like, how am I going to approach this marketing to sell to the newlyweds that are just proposed? And it's not my thing, but the music now is like,
not there,
yeah.
What I mean?
So now with 5 for 5, I'm keeping that as the urban thing, and the Smart Sound, that's another thing. I got shares in the company now. So it's like, it started from nothing. Just me decided to put my beats on a site, but now I look so professional that this guy, he knows what he's doing. So even if I don't get to the certain amount of members I don't want, it's bringing me all types of opportunities. And as a producer, I could just send any artist to use it as a tool too. Like, you want trap, go use the filter. You want this, and they just go. And then when they choose a beat, I take it off the website, sell it to them or whatever, So now I just brought out the Shawnee Gang with Tactica featuring Frank the Dripper, who's a famous podcast on the French scene here from Frime Beats. It's like a little podcast show. So it's cool that I produced for Tactica.
I think I saw the video. I checked it out yesterday.
Yeah, it's like a reggaeton vibe.
The reggaeton vibe.
Yeah,
it was, the video looks sick. I like the video. It was a table with like fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday.
So that's actually my first Quebecois placement with, somebody that's really doing it, So I'm happy about that, and it's from, my mom's still from Charny, so it's like the theme song from where I grew up to a bit in Quebec City back then. So, it's cool. It's not necessarily what I would have heard on the reggaeton beat, but it's perfect,
It gave me like what France is doing now, like those France vibes with like anthems and stuff. It gave me like an anthem vibe.
Exactly. And they know their crowd, so I could definitely hear them singing the hook. Shawnee Gang, and their crowd loves that shit, and they're one of the only groups that's really like still caking off all the physical, like their merch sells out, their CD sells out. They really like got a diehard fan base. So really happy about that. Got a lot of other artists from the city that, are working on the song, but now I'm putting like expiry dates because it's cool to take the beats, but now
You can't
I'm
just
like
sit on them
2-month
forever.
expiry date. I gotta hear something. But yeah, definitely trying to place with some of the best here in the city that already loves my music and is just getting more and more love, and everybody loves the beats. So it's like just affirming I'm doing the right thing. Just recently sponsored also a whole season of Bars Up, which is that new show here that features the people spitting a 16 and interview. So I'm sponsoring the whole show. So every show you'll see the 5 for 5 at the end. I got 4 episodes with all my beats. So that was a great experience too, because I had the whole production team for one day with all the MCs. Everybody rapped on my beat, just played my beats from 9 to 5. Everybody just vibing on all the whole day. So you're like, I guess I do good music, because as a producer, you're always like hard on yourself. So you're like, you hear other beats and you're like, could it be better? Could be better? Could be better? Because we're very hard. But then when you make it listen to neutral people, that's the best feedback, because most of the time you're between rapper friends and producer, and we're very critical.
Yeah, and if you make 1,600 beats, you start forgetting which one is which, how much did you like it?
Yeah, it becomes hard, especially that's when, with B Club is starting really like, I got to know which one are my best beats. I got to narrow it down, because I could only send 3, when I send it. So it's not like I could send 10 and they'll choose. I got to be like, these are got to be 3 fire beats, So it's really hard to choose when you have a big library. Like, I don't know,
Well, look, I think if you just keep marketing the 5 for 5 and everything, like, there's not that many stock music websites that I know. Like I said, I mentioned 2. You're the third. Just how many billions of people in this world? You know what I mean? Like,
I just need a couple, and the whole marketing strategy behind this one is to help other producers around me that are very talented and have tons of music that's sleeping on their hard drive. So my mission with the site was actually to also duplicate that. So once I get my 2,000 members, I'm making 100K with my music, and just off the membership minus the expenses, then I could just continue and make $1 million myself. But I prefer duplicating and adding variety and bring in the marketing around it towards the producer. He's producing too for it. And I'm producer for 5 for 5, and I'm this. So now I got 15 producers, all the best producers from the city lined up. And they got beats and we got shared drives, but I'm just like finalizing the structure so I could pay them out, properly. But it's going to be their page, their playlist, and they're going to be added to the whole library. And so eventually we're going to be like, I don't know, we're trying to, bring the library up to 6,000-7,000 tracks and duplicate that so he can make 100K a year producing for the site. He can make 100K, or even if it's 40. Like, which producer wouldn't like to get 40,000 a year just to produce some music for the website? You know what I mean?
40 grand doing what you love? Yeah, for sure.
And they have to help bring members, of course, but that's what's the future of that site is. And then with Smart Sound, we're reaching 100. We want to reach 100,000 members, because they got, they're paying the marketing budget, and it's like it's more like a free account approach that, ends up paid. So we were giving ourselves 5 years to reach over 100,000 active members, and then, we'll see what we do from there.
Dope.
So it's really, really just working, man. Just
very, very, very exciting stuff. I like hearing all the progress, like seeing the evolution from the rap game to the producer game to be totally entrepreneurial on every aspect. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is the perfect segue to pick up that gem right there. So you can drop a gem on the people and let them know what they got to do to get in the position that you're in right now, man.
So what you got to do to get in the position that I'm in right now is to believe in yourself, first off. That's why my message will always stay, it all depends on you. Don't depend on nobody to make it happen for you. Don't rely on nobody. Not that you can't rely on nobody, but keep your trust low, because everybody wants to make that money. And when they see that you have something going on for you, everybody wants their share. So just make it happen for yourself first. Believe in yourself and work the hours. Ice Cube once said, if you're not willing to work 5 years straight on something you're not going to make any money with, just don't do it. You know what I mean? So the vision has to be a 5 to 10 year vision on your project instead of a very short vision. If you start putting that vision to 5 to 10 years, you'll see you'll be much more comfortable doing that growth and becoming 1% better every day. So if you become 1% better every day, that's 365% better at the end of the year. You know what I mean? So don't try to do too much all the time, as long as you're advancing, you know? And as I said, whatever your project hit, dream big. Don't hear everybody trying to let you down, telling you can't make it or you can't do this, can't do that. Believe in yourself. It all depends on you, man. That's the gem of the day.
That was a gem right there. That was a fucking gem. It's been a while since I heard a gem like that. You literally gave a bunch of words of wisdom to the people out there. Like I'm gonna re-listen to this as many times as possible. We're gonna put a nice 5 for 5 sound on this. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna soundtrack. This episode's gonna be the most soundtracked version.
Tell the people where they can find you, where they can find the beats, every link that you got possible.
All right. Well, the name is Frime Beats, Frime Beats. So if you want to find me, Instagram, TikTok, you could write frimebeats.com. Sorry, not .com, Frime Beats. And then if you want to find where my music, I have my artist profile on Spotify, so you could type Frime. There's a new single called Busy at the Moment that's popping off TikTok right now. Even though I haven't been as active with the rap, that song's popping. Which I did with my wife, by the way, that raps on the song, which is pretty crazy. So that's one place to find it, or else 5for5soundtracks.com, 5for5soundtracks.com. If you want music for your background video, your influencer, podcaster, or you're just making videos and you want to have something different than just taking the music off Instagram and TikTok directly and not get any copyright strikes, 5for5soundtracks.com, the only site with urban music only. You know, you get your beats, melodies, drum loops, so you have a lot of flexibility to put some music in the back. So yeah, that's what it is. Frime Beats, baby. Thanks a lot for inviting me to the show, bro.
You heard. That's where you find the beats. I'm gonna check up on people. I'm gonna be seeing if they downloaded the beats, if they fucking subscribe to the website.
That's love right
that's
there.
It. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing. Thank you for being here, bro. It was
Appreciate
a great episode.
Man.
A lot of gems were dropped the whole time. You were talking business. A lot of gems were dropped. A lot of stories were said that I didn't know about the Rick Ross stuff. I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the whole LA journey. So it was nice. It was refreshing to hear some stuff that I didn't know about. And we're happy that you could be on the Hustle podcast and you can share these moments with us.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
That's another episode of the Hustle podcast. We out.
Welcome everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve Armopoulos.